Peak season for you, Gemini. September is going to be pretty impressional. Let's have an aligned astro chat about it. Hello, Geminis. I'm Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to Transformational Tarot for September. So excited to be connecting with you guys for this kind of fall entry, and can't believe we're already here. So today I am pulling cards for you from the Dragon Tarot. Forgive me, I don't have a box for it. It's a box in my garage, and we are going to pull an overarching theme for you from the Spiritual Awakening Oracle. And this is Dr. Erin Fall Haskell. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right. So I feel like exactly what I was saying, impressionable. So like this month, I feel is really going to be one of those months that stands out for you. It's kind of like, when we look back on the past and we look at different years and we say, oh, that was the year that changed everything. That was the year that I got married, or that was the year that I graduated, or that was the year that this is going to be a month in the year that is going to be like, oh yeah, September of 2025. Like, here's where I was at. Here's what I was doing. Here were the things that I learned. This is how I changed. So I feel like it's going to be impressionable and very impactful in what is coming up and coming through for you. So the law of transcendence, revere the dark side of life. Exactly what I'm seeing for you guys. There is going to be an event, I feel, that happens here in September. I don't know if this is, I want to say, a collective event, or if we are talking about more of an individual sort of event for you, or maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe there's something collective that happenings that affects you on an individual level in a direct way. Either way, I don't see this as being bad or being difficult as much as I feel like when we talk about transcendence, it's like rising above something. But I'm also seeing here like translucence, like you using your frequency to rise into a higher viewing of this situation, or a higher understanding of the situation. Revere the dark side of life. So the dark side, the shadow of life. And so I feel like a lot of what you're going to be evaluating, working through this month is going to be connected to shadow. And I'm hearing for a lot of you, it's going to be other people's shadows, and how other people's shadows are catalyzing your choices. Ooh, I like that. Okay. So now I'm really excited to see where this is going. So this is you in the present moment. Where are you right now in your transformational journey? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? Ooh, Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, you're getting ready to start some new things. And I feel like there is a dissolving. It's not that you're dissolving new seeds to be planted. I feel like you're dissolving what has already been planted. And it's what I keep seeing here is, this is a garden in the desert, right? We're seeing a little bit of the desert. I feel like what you're doing this month and where you're at right now is you're discarding those seeds that didn't grow. I feel almost this energy of like you're tilling the garden, and you're noticing like, okay, here are the seeds that grew, and they've been there and done that. The flowers are doing well. I'm going to plant this flower over here. I'm going to make room here because there was a grouping of seeds that was here that never came to light. So I need to till that soil. I need to clean that up because I want to put something else in there. And I feel like from a, when we're talking about like your current energy and the current space that you're at in your transformation, you are so ready for something new and something different. And when we talk about that law of transcendence and revering the dark side of life, you're seeing that, okay, there were some things that didn't come to pass in the way that I wanted them to. No sense here. This isn't about crying over spilled milk. This isn't about berating yourself. Not to say, like, if you're still grieving or you're having, having feelings about it, I'm not saying, tisk tisk, don't feel. Obviously feel what you feel, be compassionate with yourself about that, but then pick up your bootstraps and move forward. I feel like that's what this Ace of Pentacles is about. You can't be hanging on to the past. You can't be stuck in what didn't work. It's really moving forward into what is going to work now. Or I need to plant something new. It's time for me to do something different. That didn't work. I've evaluated why. I don't need to judge it. I don't need to sit or wallow in it. I just need to say, okay, what's next? And I feel almost like a level of emotional detachment around this. And Geminis, I'm a Gemini moon, so I say this with love. We have that ability. We're air signs. We have the ability to rationalize and sort of cognize our feelings in a way that a lot of other signs aren't able to do. So not to say that you want to detach and compartmentalize. This isn't about bypassing or not dealing with. This is more a reflection of I've acknowledged that this thing or that thing or the other thing didn't work. And so now I'm ready for the new. And you can celebrate the new. You can still be in mourning for the old if you want to be, and celebrating the new at the same time. And I feel like that's what's important here. The catalyst, what's fueling or hindering your transformation? And is this resistance or rocket fuel? The High Priestess, I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I love the High Priestess for you. It's not your card, but I feel like it lends itself to some Gemini because we do have the duality, right? We have the as above, so below. We have that sort of not dual personality, but that energy of the High Priestess that she, receives the guides, the messaging. She's the conduit for source energy, but she also has to live in the physical world, right? She's living in a human body, having a human experience. So there's integration that's happening here. And I feel like a big catalyst for you guys is going to be the spiritual. It is going to be, what is it that I am receiving? Because you will be receiving a lot of messaging from source energy, a lot of information that is going to be coming through. And, I want to say to you guys, like, this is powerful stuff. Like, let's take a look at this beautiful dragon. The beautiful dragon, she's blue. So she is throat chakra, finding your truth, speaking your truth, learning to communicate it in a creative way. She is also the ascension flame. She is ascending, and there's nothing that's going to get in the way of her ascension. And that means that whatever gifts she came into this lifetime with, she is going to make use of them. Whether or not anybody else agrees, this is what she's going to do. And I feel like, Gemini, that is exactly where you're at. And that's what September is going to bring to you. You're going to receive a bunch of information and you're going to say, I can't explain this away. Or I feel so strongly about this path that I have to follow it, regardless of whether it makes sense to anybody else. Like we said, Ace of Pentacles, right? A planting of new seeds. There's new growth that is happening here. There's new opportunity. And regardless of whether it jives with anybody else, this is where you're at and this is what you're going to be doing. So I feel in many ways like your spiritual receptivity is the catalyst for all of this that's coming up and coming through. And PS and FYI, the High Priestess is not afraid of her shadow self. She understands that she needs to experience and explore some of that, even though she is a conduit for the divine, because the divine is coming here to understand the shadow, to understand an overblown ego coming back into alignment or realigning with the new, which is the transcendence, transcending what has always been, so that, and incorporating the dead seeds, incorporating the dark and the shadow, and using it to produce new and better and different and growth. And the communication piece is going to be key to this. You're going to be communicating, whether it's verbally or through your actions. You're going to be communicating with your community, with the people around you, whatever this big shift, this change is that you're going to be making. And, you know, I feel like most people are going to be pretty supportive of what you do. You might run into a little bit of resistance, and I keep hearing the word shock. There may be some people that are a bit shocked by your choice. And maybe you're a little bit shocked by your choice, but trust that it is, I want to say, the right path for you. This is big. It's big stuff. What did we say? Impactful and impressive, or impressional. I don't even think that's a word. So apparently that's a Stacyism. Mr. Neo fully agrees. Hi, Fuzz. Okay. So we are at our deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation under the surface? This is an important one, Gemini, and I feel like a lot of this has to do with your spiritual side. Yeah, judgment. Oh my God, you can't make this shit up. Okay, so, excuse me. Thank you. So, judgment. This is like decisions. It's decisions time. This is go time with your decisions. This is the angel. In this case, it's a beautiful angel dragon coming to you and saying, hey, you've gone through almost the entire process of this past experience or these past choices. Are you ready for the dawn of a new day? Are you ready for this next awareness journey, this higher consciousness expansion? Or is there something that you still want to review on the other side of it? And I just realized the irony of it. I was going to say no judgment. The card is judgment, right? But so I want to say, like, there's no judgment in terms of your choice, but the judgment card is coming up to say you're here to make the choice. So there's a part of you, Gemini, that I feel has known for a long time that this choice was coming up for you, whatever it is in your life. You've been sensing it, feeling it. Maybe you've even like made the choice to have the choice, if that makes sense. But now that it's here, there's a bit of trepidation. And there's trepidation because it's going to require you to transcend from what you know into something that is, I want to say, higher ground. It's not like, yes, it's about leveling up. Absolutely, 100% it's about leveling up. But it goes beyond that. I feel like you're here now at this space because you're recognizing that I needed to have this experience with all of these people and do all of the things that I did in order to be ready for this next leap. And it's going to be a big leap. And yes, you know, fool's journey and all that, but you're leaping with intention. You're leaping with knowledge. You're leaping knowing that this is going to be exciting and like profound, and it's going to take you to places that you've yet to experience the beauty of it, the bigness of it. I don't know how else to explain it. So, and I don't want to like scare you, you know, like you don't have to feel overwhelmed or like, oh my God. I feel like you guys already kind of sense this. You know this. You're meant for bigger things. You're meant to be big, to play it big, to go big or go home. And that's what this is about. In order to do that, you have to shed some things along the way. And I feel like that might be where some of the, you know, the trepidation comes into the mix of, okay, who or what am I going to have to discard or leave behind? Always keep in mind that you're going to replace it with something even better, something that is more aligned with the person that you are and the person that you are becoming. And this is inevitable. Getting the judgment card versus like a two of something where there's choice, very different energy. This is lifetime judgment, right? Like this is overarching energy. You Geminis are on the precipice of really landing your soul's mission and purpose. That's kind of what it feels like. And I don't use those terms lightly. So what's dying away? What part of you is falling away? What role, pattern, or identity has run its course? Well, we're kind of talking about that, but the Knight of Pentacles, things going slow, things just meandering, taking their time. Um, Now is not a time for you to just kind of stop and smell the roses. Now is the time for you to really accelerate, to move forward. Now, I'm not saying you have to force movement, but I want to say this is not a time for analysis paralysis. When an opportunity presents itself, you need to jump on it. You know, if it's something that you decide that you want to do, you need to jump on it. So whereas you might take a couple of days to make a decision, give yourself a couple of hours and tune in to your spidey sense, right? Your high priestess is the one that is coming to the forefront. You know, she's coming through to say, hey, this is how we're going to live this next volume of our lives, not even chapter. This is how we're living our next volume. This is what is coming through. I'm really drawn to the deer here. Deer are all about family and community, and they're very loving and gentle, but they will, they will fight for their, to protect their community. And so I feel like this is a message here that you're still going to have community, that community is still going to fight for you, that you're still a part of a community, but you may have to branch out a little bit in order to kind of get where you're going. You can always come back. You can always come back for a visit or a touch up or a rest point, a touch point. But I do feel that you're going to have to kind of expand, spread your wings and fly a little bit. Highest potential. This is your phoenix potential. What can rise from the ashes? What is your soul calling you towards? And this is your breakthrough energy. Two of Cups. Soulmate energy, peeps. Soulmate energy. Okay. So just so that we're clear, we don't have just one person, one soulmate in our lives. We have multiple soulmates, and soulmates are not always romantic in nature, although they can be. You can be a soulmate with your cat or your dog, a teacher, a mentor, friends, soul brothers, soul sisters, however that, plays out. So I feel a lot of this soulmate energy. So for some of you, I feel when we're talking about this, if you've been seeking romantic partnership, I feel like this is what is going to be presenting itself in September as either the goal, the direction that you want to take, like this is your desired outcome, or there's actually a person that shows up that is in the running for that there's going to be that soulmate energy. For those of you whom it's not going to be the romantic angle, this is partnership. This is soulmate partnership, where you meet someone and you have a connection with them that goes deeper than anything that you have had up to this point. And it is connected to this spiritual journey that you are on, the spiritual identity that is you. And it's going to be, I want to say, emotionally very powerful. I feel that there's going to be no mistaking the connection. And however this sort of plays out, I feel like with this Two of Cups coming through, and how interesting that you've got the High Priestess, which is a 2, and the Judgment, which is a 2, we are definitely in this pairing, partnership, union. And a lot of this is union with self, right? Union to self and source, as above, so below. And a lot of this is the moving forward into connections that are going to support who you are now and who you're becoming. Some of your community doesn't necessarily support who you are now to the extent that you need it. So this feels like new connections coming in. There's also, of course, always choice in this. Always choice. But I'm going to say to you, why not? You're already in that space of judgment, right? Choosing to take the step forward. Yes, some of you can choose to take another round, another kick at the can. But I want to say to you, you'll be coming back to this choice. I mean, just look at this, three twos, all in a, sort of in a triangular thing here. This says to me, you're going to come back to this choice again and again and again until you say yes to it. That's not your guides taking away your free will. That's your guide saying, you're always going to come back to this point. So it just depends on whether you want to delay it or whether you want to get this show on the road. And I feel like this energy is going to be palpable. And I'm not talking like the cheesy romantic, oh, it was love at first sight. I mean, you might have some of that, but we're talking about love as frequency here, as well as love as feeling. And it's the frequency that is what is really important. Wow, guys. Wow. Okay. Next steps. What's emerging for you just around the corner? What energy or experience is coming in, to support this phase, this next phase? Six of Pentacles. I love this. Generosity, reciprocity, understanding that there needs to be a healthy give and a take. This, for a lot of you, I feel, is going to reflect the relationship, whether it's romantic or otherwise, that is coming in to support you. Because not to say that your community as it exists now doesn't support you, but it's different. It's a different level of support. And I want to say, when I'm looking at this for you and sort of what's emerging around the corner, it's like a different family. And let's even take a look at that. Knight of Pentacles. Your community is gentle and family oriented, and they're always going to welcome you in. This is a family of, I think it's bears. So a little fiercer, a little more, I want to say, connected to that as above, so below, willing to go into the trenches, willing to do the shadow work, can support you in those ways. There are two here, there are three here. So I feel like that's significant as well, because, not that you're losing, you're going to be gaining, but you need more support during this time. Because it is a new choice. It is a new direction. And you are going to be learning some new things, right? They're in the water. So I feel that even though this is a pentacle energy, that earth energy that you're manifesting as above, so below, there's an emotional component to it. There is the psychic component to it. You're going to be learning how to wade in the water of the psychic all the time while still feeding the physical, still feeding you in the body, in the human body. So this is integration for you. And that's what's emerging. Oh, I love that. God, I got chills for you guys. This is going to be really an incredible month. So you in this process, how are you navigating this transformation? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? Another two. You can't make this shit up, guys. You just can't. You just can't. So I want to say, seeing all of these twos, there is a bit of resistance. And I feel like your resistance is more from a, is this really happening? This is too good to be true. Can I trust this? Can I balance this out? This is a card of resource in a lot of ways, waiting for the ships to sort of come in, and juggling your schedule, juggling your needs, juggling people. I want to say to you, this is why I feel like you're kind of having to move away from certain things, certain people for a time, in order to be able to figure out what your energetic balance is, what your needs are going to be. So there is a bit of resistance, but I want to say at the end of the day, this is what's going to help you to boldly rise, because we've gotten all the twos except for one, I think, right? So we've got the High Priestess, we have the Judgment, we have the Two of Cups, the Two of Pentacles. So we haven't gotten all the twos yet. There are still two official twos, but you've got a two here, a two here. So 4 twos right now. And there are still a few cards to pull. So we'll see what happens. But when we're talking about that, I feel like the two is inviting you to really connect with yourself and source. This is a blending of your divine masculine and divine feminine. This is you as above, so below, bringing the spiritual into the now moment and recognizing this is a time in my life and in my soul path where the spiritual takes over or takes precedence over. That's a better way for me to say it. Takes precedence over some of the physical considerations because I'm in the process of integrating. I'm getting to know this aspect of myself, getting to learn how it works, creating the balance there so that eventually I'm going to be fully integrated, and then I am going to be walking the pentacle path and still receiving all of the information that is coming up and coming through. So you in this process, you don't want to resist. You want to boldly rise. And it might be a bit of a challenge, having to pull back a little bit, having to hold some boundaries, make some choices to distance yourself or to choose a different path, one that is not what everybody expects. But it will pay off in the end, because at the end of the day, this is a coming together. This is union within yourself, as well as unions in your life that are going to support you, like the you that is now, that you've maybe kind of held hidden or held back a little bit. This is now your time to shine, right? No more thinking about it. No more analysis paralysis. This is the time to lean in. Circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now? And is it a positive or a negative influence? Page of Pentacles. Okay, so I have to tell you, pages are 11s, which breaks down into a 2. I'm just saying. Okay, so, oh my God, I'm just blown away. I also love the fact that we have so many pentacles right now as well. So this really is for you about shedding some of the, like trusting that you've got foundation in the solid in your everyday world, so that you can open up to the spiritual, that you feel that you're safe and protected, so that you can open up into this. Okay, so circles of support, Page of Pentacles. So Page of Pentacles is very curious. Page of Pentacles is, I like to describe it as the student that is running a lab test. And they're learning how to use the Bunsen burner, and they're learning how to, sort of practice the scientific method and recording from an observational perspective, not necessarily with any kind of formulated opinion, more running the test to get the information. And I feel like this is the approach that's going to feel the most comfortable for you at this time. Yes, there's a lot of shifting that's going on. Yes, you are opening up to this spiritual side of you that's always been there, but maybe you haven't, fully, dived in all the way. Like you've been dipping your toes in the water. Well, now you're going for the whole swim, right? And I feel like you don't have to throw caution to the wind. You can bring a little bit of structure to it if that is what is going to kind of ease any anxieties or fears or worries around what's going on, and will give you a little more confidence in the process. But ultimately, I'm hearing that a lot of you are going to, if you really listen to the self that's inside, you're going to already have confidence that this is the direction you're supposed to take. It's going to feel good in there. The ego is going to get in the way. Your ego voice is going to pop up and say, but what about this and what about that? And bring up all sorts of feelings. Understand that those feelings are distracting. They're distractions. They're meant to distract you from really fully connecting to this, because the ego is afraid that you're not going to need it if you're doing this. But you just tell the ego, I'm still going to need you. You're still part of the experiment here. I am, my process is to be as above and so below. My process is integration. So, ego, like, just take a little vacation, see this as summer break, and we're going to come back in the fall, and you can be a part of it, right? But right now, this is what I need to focus on. So don't be afraid to put a little structure around what you're doing, but approach it in that experimental phase where you're not attached to any specific outcome as a result. Here's your hopes and fears. What are you dreaming of becoming, and what scares you about actually doing it? Wow. So we have the Fool card. I love this card. I love this little little snow tiger. So freaking cute. Okay, so you are afraid of the new journey. And we started off your reading with an Ace of Pentacles, right? We started it off with a new beginning, pure potential. The Fool card is that new beginning. It's the leap of faith. And I won't say it's blind for you today, because I don't feel that this leap of faith is blind. I feel that you know this leap of faith. And there's a part of you that knows. The part of you that it holds back is just the ego saying, but what if I'm wrong? You know, what if I fail? I know I need to let go of this type of connection, or investing so much into this type of connection in favor of something else. But, you know, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt to do it. It's going to be difficult to do it. So, you know, I feel like this is the hope and the fear all at the same time. The hope is the new journey, the sailing off into the next grand adventure, being supported. And again, this reminds me of the two deer. This is your community, that they're sending you off. They're waving. They're like, we'll be here when you come back, you know, or we'll follow you along on your journey. We support you, but they're a little bit in the distance because it's time for you to do something new. And you're supported. It's a gift from Spirit. It's an absolute gift from Spirit to have this journey. And you're going to have companionship. You're going to have support as you go through. So the fear and the hope are exactly the same. And I feel like the only answer I have for you here is it's just doing it, right? It's the ripping the Band-Aid off and just doing it. Taking that leap. Go with the inner knowing, because the inner knowing in you says, yes, I want this. Yes, this is going to be okay. Lean into that feeling. Because the ego, I feel the ego voice is going to be, you know, singing its song, going to be speaking loud, wanting to take over. And I feel like this is one of those things where, like, if you wait for the ego to settle, oh, maybe tomorrow it'll be better. Nope. It's one of those things where you feel the fear, you face it, and you move ahead anyway, right? You do it anyway. Courage. Courage, courage, courage. I want to say that's your mantra. I am courageous. I am brave and courageous. Here is your ideal outcome if you stay on course. Who will you be on the other side of this journey? What is the result of embracing the full death and rebirth cycle? Wow. It's your first wand. Knight of Wands, passion. Passion reignited. Feeling confident in your direction. Feeling connected to yourself, to source, and feeling connected to your purpose in this life. Feeling a reconnection to humanity in a way that you haven't felt before. I feel also like new horizons, experiencing things, seeing things, doing things, opportunities coming your way that weren't normally or wouldn't have been available to you had you stayed kind of on the same path and track that you were on. This is just exciting. And people really love the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands has charisma. And so I feel that there's a part of you that is going to, because you are, sort of expanding your energy out and you're living this all in, your charisma is going to come out, or this new sort of aspect of you that comes out, and that's going to attract to you a lot of people that are, number one, very aligned to this new path and vision, but number two, aligned to the passion. People who share the same passion. And I feel here like you're not going to have to go it alone. Like, this is a situation where you're going to be amazed at how many people you find that feel the same way, share the same experience or the same journey. And that's going to be really refreshing for you, because especially I feel like I'm talking to some star seeds here now. If you identify as a star seed, it's hard to find those true connections in life, right? We often connect to people and it feels very uneven. Like we know that the other person, seems to get a lot, and we don't get all the things that we need from it. And there's a certain level of settlement around that, just settling, accepting this is what it is. And so there can be isolation. You feel like there's something wrong with you, like everybody else, this seems to work for everybody else, why not me? This is meeting like-minded, like-hearted souls. This is souls that are on the same path, and it's going to ignite you in a way that you haven't felt ignited before. So again, I call to mind the Two of Cups energy, that soulmate energy. So whether it's romantic or otherwise, there's new connection coming in. And, I always like to say, don't get too hung up on timing. Our timing and divine timing are often two different things. So, I do feel that for the majority of you, this person is actually going to manifest here in September. If it doesn't manifest in September, you are setting the tone. You are manifesting in September. And you're manifesting, what you're creating, and what you're putting your focus to is creating a foundation for this soulmate energy to come in. So just sort of understand the breadth and scope of that. Ooh. Gemini. Wow. This is going to be, what did I say to you before? This is going to be the kind of month where you're going to look back and you're going to say, oh yeah, September of 2025 was the month that. I can't wait to see how this turns out. So this is your Transformational Tarot for September. It was so great to connect with you guys in this way. If you need a little help, a little guidance in how this is all playing out, please feel free to click on the link below, book a session with me. I would love for us to be able to connect and support you through this, connect with your guides, get you some interesting food for thought to help you navigate these waters. Until I see you for the next video, sending you lots of love, lots of support. We will see you on the flip side, and transform well.